Welcome to another S&P 500 analysis. Today is June 23rd, 2021. This is the midweek edition. Today, the Nasdaq 100 made another closing high and another new all-time high. Now, before we take a look at the Nasdaq 100, let's start off with this intraday chart of the S&P 500. This is a 3-minute candlestick chart. As you can see, the S&P 500 opened with a gap up, and during the first hour, it put in this topping candle pattern. This is what we call an evening star type of candle pattern. And since then, you see the price is pretty much chopping around inside this IB range, this first hour range here, and it got negative a few times, right? And but it didn't stay down negative too long and came back up positive. Then until the last 15 minutes before the close, then we saw this flush and push it down and close at 4241.43, and ended the day closed down a little bit less than 5 point, 0.11%. Now this flush is not surprising to us, right? Because today is Wednesday and it's OPEX Wednesday. So we do expect some sort of shenanigan on OPEX day. Either they're going to flush it at the last half an hour or 15 minutes before the closing bell, or they're going to surge it. And looking at the new high, new low, we did see the New York Stock Exchange have 166 more new high than new low today. And the up-down volume ratio is 1.66 at the end of the session. During the beginning of the session, we did see a up-down volume ratio up at 6.3, right near the peak here. And then after that, it's pretty much hovered between 3 and 2.5 most of the day. Then at the even at the last 15 minutes of this flush, we still see a decent up-down volume ratio. And the VIX, the market participants are still very complacent, although we see these little peak at the low of the S&P 500 throughout this session. But these, the magnitude of this from the trough to the peak is so minute, it really doesn't make that much difference, because we're talking about here 16.55 versus here at the low here is 16.11. We're talking about 0.4 here, right? So, but it's under the 20 level and sitting here at 16.42. Market participants are still complacent, and the put call ratio you can see is still under 0.5, sitting at 0.46. The advanced decline, only 182 more advancing issue than declining issue, but you can see that early in the morning we actually saw somewhere up over 1,000 more advancing issue than decliners. And even throughout the day, it's sitting up at the 900 level, 800, 900 level until near the close. That's when we see a little bit of a dive on the advanced decline. So we take a little bit more closer look at it on another chart here. Here, looking at this intraday advanced decline chart, you can see that it opened up somewhere around 650 more advancing issue than declining issue, dipped down a little bit, and then came up all the way up to close to 1,100, then pulled back in the midday. And in the afternoon, it's just kind of been hovering around this 600 to 900. Then you see here's that little dump on the last 15 minutes. We see that a lot of stock got yanked down during the 15-minute flush. And also looking at the cumulative tick, it's a little different than yesterday. We saw it positive throughout the session today in the New York Stock Exchange. And although we still see quite a number of sell program, a couple of times down here at the 800, minus 800 level. Buy program, not that strong, but there are a few plus 500, but none of them actually got up to positive 800 or 1,000. And for the Nasdaq, you can see the Nasdaq is also open with, let's see, 850 more advancing issue than declining issues. And it moved up to 1300 area, 1300 more advancer than decliner. Then kind of dipped down to 420, 425 area, and then slowly work itself back up to the 1200. And you can see at the last 15 minutes or so, we saw that the Nasdaq market also took a flush, and they yanked a lot of the stock down with it because it was sitting somewhere a little bit around 1100 and ended up just a little bit under 700, 679. A lot of them turned from positive to negative and caused this advanced decline to come down. And the cumulative tick is a little bit of a mixed bag. You see it's positive early in the morning and negative throughout the mid-morning to early afternoon, and then positive in the afternoon. You see here we've got a lot of negative ticks here. Okay, although there are some buy program at the 500 level, but we also saw some minus 800 down here on the sell side. So all in all, it's kind of mixed bag on the tick, and the internal also kind of re-emphasize the hidden weakness inside of the Nasdaq market. So these new high from the Nasdaq 100 is really something to be concerned about. It is not what it appeared to be. So let's go and take a look at the heat map and see what is actually moving this index today. Here's the heat map for the Nasdaq 100. You see Tesla is the one that is making a huge move today. It's up over 5%. Okay, and you see a lot of these tech stock like Apple, Google, and Microsoft, and a lot of the semiconductor did not participate. We did get a few that got a bid today, right? But not as much as yesterday. And so you can see today is basically as Tesla is pushing the Nasdaq 100, and similarly it's also helped push the hold the SP 500 above negative level, right? Hold it above negative. So, and you can see that soon as at the end of the day, when the smart money or the big money decide to flush it, they took a lot of the other stock down, and that kind of pushed the S&P 500 down a few points. But other than Tesla, not much happening today. You can see that some of the semiconductors here, energy got a few, but not much. And the financial did catch a bit today, quite a few of them. So once again, it's very selective, not a broad market advance that pushed the Nasdaq 100 to a new high today. Now looking at this daily chart of the S&P 500, you can see this high here is only about half a point away from its all-time high. Let's check the value here. The high for today is 4256.60, and here is 4257.16. So that's only 0.5-ish away. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this high get taken out in the coming day. We kind of got a little bit of a NR7 type of candle here, and still sitting above this trend line and very close to this all-time high. And there is a Globex all-time high still need to be tagged. So and that's only 10 points away. So if we see that get tagged, then very likely we're going to see this S&P 500 cash index to get tagged and put in a new all-time high and close at a new closing high. So that's what we are going to be keeping an eye on, is this trend line and also the high, the all-time high. So watch the 4232 area here and see what it holds above this level. If it's not, then we're essentially coming back down to this 4170, 4180 area to double check these low here. And here looking at the Nasdaq 100, you see this little bit of a spinning top doji, And we saw that similar evening star type of pattern on the S&P 500. Now, if tomorrow we see a little bit of a down candle from the Nasdaq, let's say a pullback, God forbid, right? So then we'll see this evening star type of pattern. Then that could be something that might alert us for a little bit more pullback for the coming days and possibly come down and maybe check this 13,713 level. But you never know. It could easily just make a move up and push through and try to catch the 14,400 area up in the these new high territory. Anything is possible. And here, looking at the Russell 2000, it did reclaim this 2297 level, although it did putting a little bit of a topping tail here. But again, if it could stay above this 2297, then we could possibly see the Russell 2000 come up and check its all-time high at 2360.20. And the Dow Jones Transportation is still trying to get back above this 15,000 area. Made another peek at it, but unable to stay above it. So we just have to keep an eye on it to see would it be able to get up above the 15,000. If it's not, we still keep an eye on this trend line here and somewhere around this 14,500 area. And the Dow Jones Industrial also is trying to get back above this pivot high from yesterday. It's putting in a inside candle here, so we'll see would it be able to do a little bit of a inside candle breakout or a breakdown tomorrow. If it breaks down, then once again watch this these pivot high. These pivot lows somewhere around 33,500. Then possibly come back down if those low doesn't hold to this low here and check this pivot low. And that could also set up another sort of a W or double bottom type of a pattern to give the Dow Jones Industrial a push up to the closing high. And here's the New York Stock Exchange Composite. Also, it was trying to get above this high here from yesterday, unable to stay above it. Instead, it pulled back a little bit. So we'll see in the coming day. Maybe again, it could pull back to this trend line and set up a double bottom type of a pattern for the next push up. And here's the EMini SP500 future. This high here from the Globex session still hasn't been tagged, and that's about 10 points between today's close and this high. So we got another 10 handle for the EMini, the ES to move in order to tag this Globex high. And here we see the 10-year yield came up a little bit, 1.487, but it's still underneath this 1.53 area and above this 1.4. So we'll see how much of a chop that it will have and before it come back in above this 15.29 or 1.53. Here on the U.S. dollar, we see it continues to stay within this area here. Pull back a little bit and got a little bit of a push back up later on. So it closed up slightly from yesterday. Still above this 91.24, but below this 92.15. So we'll probably see a little bit more chop and keep an eye on this 91.24 to see what it pull back down to this level here. Now, looking at oil, you can see the oil is getting close to that magical $75 target that we've been talking about here today. The high was 74.25. So it's getting there. Maybe somebody is front running that 75. Who knows, right? Got a little bit of a topping tail. So maybe we might see a little bit of a pullback in the coming day. And then we see another push and get above that 75 and into this zone here. Okay, then we'll be looking at somewhere around 77. And silver was trying to make a run up at this trend line today. Got into a little bit of a resistance and got rejected back down. So it's still inside of this area here, underneath 2666 and above 2475. And for gold, we are still looking at gold try to consolidate here. I'm still looking for it to possibly pull back to the 1700 level. And when it does, once it get down to this level, then I'd be looking for possible swing long location or setup to see would it be able to play it back up to this 1923 level. But if it run up and break this trend line here, then I wait until it come back and do a back test of this 1804 area once again. Then we'll look for a long swing long trade location to again play it back up to this 1923. And before I end this video, let's just take a quick look at the ES profile. We see the market profile here. Remember yesterday I was talking about these single prints. We're looking for the single print to possibly get filled, and also this poor high, and there's a poor low down here. Right, there's another small single print down here, and we saw it came down, filled this single print, then came up, also came up and took out this poor high here. So what's left above is only the all-time high from the Globex section, but we still got a lot of these unfinished business down here. We got a point of control, naked point of control that need to be tagged. We got this single print here, single prints here, single prints here, and also this poor low. So wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a downside move in the next day or two to clean up some of these unfinished business down here before we make another push up to try to tag this all-time high here. But again, anything is possible. It could easily just come up tomorrow and go and take out the high, then come back down and finish off cleaning up all these stuff. And looking at the volume profile, you see the volume profile is pretty much just confined itself inside of this upper range of yesterday's value area. You know, just kind of chop around here all day long, this little small value area. And then during the last 15 minutes, it just kind of flushed down. But still, it kind of sit right near the overnight low. So it just dipped down slightly below the overnight low for a moment and then came back up. So throughout the entire session, it did not break the overnight high or overnight low until near the close during that flush. So we saw another all-time high from the Nasdaq 100 and the closing high as well. But again, you know, the internal is getting weaker and weaker. And now today, we don't even have majority of FAANG stock participate in pushing this index up. We have one giant move from Tesla. So we'll see what tomorrow will bring. But I'll be keeping an eye out for that, possible evening star type of a pattern here. You know, if we get a down candle tomorrow, then we might see a little bit pullback toward this 13,713. So don't forget to smash the thumbs up to help me promote and share this video. Thank you for watching and stay safe.